Let me tell you of the days of high adventure.
Hey, I'm Kevin.
And I'm John.
And this is 6 Degrees of Schwarzenegger, the podcast where we take a long, hard look back at some of our favorite action movies from the era of Arnold.
Kill me now. What are you waiting for? So Schwarzenegger is the icon of the genre. And we're taking a deep dive at some of these 80s and 90s cult action movies, and we're breaking them all the way down.
Everybody.
Hi.
Hi, John.
Hey, Kevin.
Andrew is with us again.
Yay.
Hey.
Welcome,
Awesome.
welcome.
Yes, glad to have you in Atlanta, friend.
Yeah.
And welcome to our listeners on the Last of the Action Heroes podcast network. Thanks for joining us. And an extra special welcome to our listeners on our OG original feed.
Hell yeah, we appreciate you guys.
If you're peeping us on the podcast network, go check out the feed. We got some old Schwarzenegger stuff hanging out back there. Other action movies that we just haven't loaded up yet on the network.
We've got some actual, and the pun intended here, but some diehard fans, people that listen to us on the weekly. And I just like to give
I'm
a
one of those people.
yeah, you are one of those people, and I appreciate you. I want to give a shout out to Tiffany, our former coworker at the agency in Houston, who listens on the weekly. She sent me a screenshot of her podcast listening on Spotify, and we were like number 2 or 3 on her list.
Nice.
And I was like, hell yeah, that's amazing. So thank you.
I'm number 2 on everyone's list. I love that. That's awesome. Yeah, that's sweet, dude.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I love that shit.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, we're back to talk more about Street Fighter, 1994 Jean-Claude Van Damme vehicle. Oh, also, we're happy to have a Van Damme podcast joining the network.
Hell yeah.
So they'll probably at some point talk about Street Fighter also, if they know what's good for them.
I need to check them out too.
Yeah.
And I want to say, like, before we get into the plot, what is your guys' history with this movie?
I think there was a similar level of excitement when Ninja Turtles was coming out. You were that amped? I was so pumped about this because I was such a fan of the game. But I remember seeing, like, previews and commercials and stuff for it, the trailers, and being very nervous. Even as a 12-year-old, I was like, oh God, they're gonna fuck it up, aren't they?
I feel like I was young enough that it didn't matter how good this movie was. I was going to love it in the same way that I loved Bob Hoskins' Super Mario Brothers at the time.
Yeah.
Because this is only the second video game movie ever made, I believe.
Right, I think so.
After Super Mario Brothers, which was in and of itself another disaster.
It was so weird.
did
That was
not
such a
follow-
weird, dark movie.
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
It's
Ooh,
so
it's
weird
bonkers.
and dark.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bob Hoskins was drunk the whole time, and you can tell.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so I think we saw this in the theater. I'm sure my mom took us on like a summer vacation. I don't remember what
This
the
came
actual
out around
release
December.
date was.
This came out around Christmas.
So maybe
but
it was
winter
a
break or
Christmas
something?
or winter break movie. And then I'm sure I rented it 5 to 10 times from a Blockbuster at the corner.
When this shit came out, I mean, Street Fighter was my favorite video game that I love to play. So I was super pumped. And when it came out I think I was probably 12 or something, and I fucking loved the movie. I thought it was like so good, man. And then when Mortal Kombat came out, which I didn't really play, I thought like, oh, this is nowhere near as good as Street Fighter. But like, I just loved Street Fighter. And then I saw it, I think years later, and was like, Jesus, this thing's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I was like, what was I thinking? And now I will look at it again, and I'm like, actually, it's got its moments.
Yeah.
I can still appreciate some things that it's trying to do here.
It does have its moments.
I feel like they gave Mortal Kombat an opening that they shouldn't have had, because Mortal Kombat, the like 95 or 96 movie,
95.
is what this movie should have been.
Agreed.
It's more reasonable to think that Street Fighter would have turned out like the Mortal Kombat,
which was good.
How do you mean, like that type of a plot?
like a
tournament,
a fighting tournament in which all of this slew of characters, and Street Fighter would have gotten there first and like kind of owned the hearts and minds, and yet they just chose not to do that.
I totally agree with that assessment.
What's fucked is like, I mean, Van Damme's done 3 different movies that would have been better Street Fighter movies than this one.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
Bloodsport, was like an international tournament of fighters. Like that's exactly what this is supposed to be.
In a shadowy underground.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And Lionheart. Lionheart would have been a great Street Fighter movie because he's like a defector from the French Foreign Legion, and then he's fighting his way through like the underground fight circuit
That's
or whatever
the only
in
one
America.
where his nationality makes any sense.
Right. Definitely.
I almost think I get if you want him to be the lead of this movie, but it almost would have worked better if you just invented a new character.
Agreed. I had that same thought.
A French guy, and then you have all the others played by less big stars who are just fucking great martial artists.
And then you would have been able to do a new version of a video game, and it wouldn't have mattered. Like, I mean, they already
brought in and introduced a new character that could have fronted the next generation of Street Fighter games.
And then he did that movie, The Quest, which was like
would have been by Frank Dukes.
Yeah, Frank Dukes got like sued to get his name on the credits as like a story by, which is almost the same plot as Bloodsport.
Right.
But it was a period piece. I'm like, that actually makes. That would work for Street Fighter. Said it sometime in the past because then it's automatically got like a license to be a little different than reality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, they could have said it. They could have even said it like, 50 years ago or something like that, and it still would have worked.
Right.
It's just like, I think the Quest was set in the 20s, maybe or something, and it's just like, you can buy that like there's a mystical underground shit going on or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Even Kickboxer was closer to a Street Fighter movie.
Yeah, definitely was. Yeah.
If he had to fight his way through a bunch of guys to get to Tong Po, like one after another, then it would have been a Street Fighter movie.
Yep.
But that's neither here nor there.
D'Souza didn't ask what we thought when we were 12 and 8 years old, respectively.
Instead, we wound up with, I guess, sort of the first live-action G.I. Joe movie.
Yeah, that's true.
What this is. But yeah, so I'll. Do you want to try to catch us up?
Nothing much happens. So what happens is that Bison, Methuselah Bison, who's a leader of an army in the country of Shadaloo, has had his turf taken over by the Allied nations, the Street Fighter World's version of UNs, and their forces are being led by Guile. And he's taken 63 hostages and is holding them for ransom for $20 billion, and they have 3 days to pay up or he's going to kill them, which is, I don't know, fine. Whatever.
That's basically it. Yeah. There's Ken and Ryu,
and then Ken and Ryu are hucksters who Guile chooses to be his bait to infiltrate Bison's secret lair, and
there's the presence of some journalists. Like
Chun Li,
like any Street Fighter movie.
We've had introduction of about half of the Street Fighter characters, or maybe a little more. I think all of them. Yeah, maybe all of them have been introduced by this point, but. Yeah, so that's it. That's what happened.
There's a lot. It's a lot, but also nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Has happened.
15 minutes went by like a blur.
Yeah,
like
he's got Bison is holding, I guess, Guile's best friend Blanka,
and doing some
another
experiments.
soldier, and he's like, trying to turn him into a perfect killer.
Professor Dalzim is turning him into a killing machine.
We've shown children an actual execution.
Yeah, I think it was like that shooting from Vietnam or whatever.
That video was terrible.
But so we'll pick up at Bison's
laboratory.
His laboratory, where the experiment on Blanka continues. His muscle mass has been increased by 49%.
According to the computer.
The computerized voice told us.
Yeah, he doesn't look any bigger.
No, not at all. And what also doesn't really make any sense is we don't know what the finish line is. Like, it'd be one thing if it was like 50% complete.
Right.
But this is like increased by 50% on your way to 500 or on your way to 70.
Just double.
We don't know. Like,
are we doubling
I guess
up?
we assume it's going to 100.
Yeah, maybe I was thinking of it in the terms of like it was 50% more than what it was where he started.
Yeah, no, that's what it means, I think, but we don't know what the finish line is.
Yeah.
Like it could be on its way to 1,000%. It's like, boy, this is going to take a while.
Is he going to be like Juggernaut from the X-Men side? Like where he's like in 1,000%?
I mean, in the game, he was sort of the most yoked up dude, right? Like him or Zangief.
Well, Blanka's character was, he's like super hunched over.
Yeah, he's hunched,
but then when he
burly.
Hulk up, it's like, oh, damn, this dude's massive.
He is supposed to sort of be Hulk-like, I think.
Yeah. So anyway, Dalsim seems very like uneasy with what's going on here in the lab, but there's this burly goon down there that gets him back on track. Dude fucking looking like Ron Jeremy.
Yeah, he did. It totally does.
Now, Yeah.
Can we call him Ron Jeremy for the rest of the movie? Okay, great.
I'm
General Ron Jeremy.
I think that dude's like Corporal Lieutenant Ron Jeremy.
NCO Jeremy.
Yeah, exactly.
And so back at the AN base, there's refugees arriving. Guile's pulled up in a Jeep. He's got Ryu and Ken there. He's basically showing them the carnage of what's going on in this country. Guile is saying that Bison's hostages, their chance of survival is even less than these refugees. And so he's trying to recruit Ken and Ryu to help him out.
Right.
They're reluctant to get involved. Guile tells them basically, ripping off bad guys doesn't make you good guys.
Right.
Which I like the little bit of whatever poetry there is in that.
They've rationalized their shit because they were stealing from thieves.
Though, what's going to endear them to Sagat is not a private meeting with Guile.
It's true.
That's also true.
They took him away to have a private meeting with Guile, and they came back, and all of a sudden he wants to be our buddy.
Yeah.
What does that say about Sagat?
He's dumb. Oh, no. He's proven time and time through this movie to be dumb as shit.
Yeah.
There's some moments that we'll touch on as we get to
them. Yeah, and Vega's a mute. We don't think he can do anything at all.
So Guile tells him, "No, are you guys the same as Sagat and Bison? Oh, am I right? And you're different." He had his shit together in this scene, I think, JCVD. Mm-hmm. He was in the right
his chemicals were
he had
balanced.
Plateaued. Yeah, he was at a good balance of whatever it is that he's
drunk
on.
and high at the same time.
Yeah,
I do think, though, like I mentioned, I think this is one of the more interesting performances from his heyday.
Yeah, totally.
He's doing things with his voice. I mean, he's trying to become Guile rather than just turning Guile into Van Damme.
Right.
So Ryu says that they're different, and can we be released now? He says the only way you're leaving is over my dead body.
A goofy Van Damme smile.
Yeah, Ryu and Ken exchange these confused looks. Took me a long time to appreciate the nature of this movie. It's just like a live-action cartoon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, it's got a very soap opera sort of dynamic of the campiness of what's going on. I don't know if that was intentional, but it works.
It's got just the logic of a Saturday morning cartoon. It's like
agreed.
You have to lay the things on really thick because you're speaking to children, I guess, or even you're more heavy-handed than you probably really need to be because you underestimate your audience.
I feel like that's especially true in this upcoming bit because this plan is stupid.
Yeah, so cut to the shackled prisoners. They're being loaded into trucks as the ANPA announcer's cracking jokes. It's like, what do you do if a Bison trooper throws a grenade at you? You pull the pin and throw it back at them. It's just
they're like blonde jokes or, back home in Texas, Aggie jokes where you assume that a bison, I don't understand what this was for or who this was for.
It's
just
very hokey.
Eat up time.
It's like old fashioned type of, that's the sort of shit that was probably being broadcast on troop radio during World War II.
I think it to me, it makes certain parts of this movie feel a little bit like Starship Troopers in that regard.
Oh, yeah.
So it's supposed to give it an air of being this is happening in a real world, and this is what soldiers would be hearing over the PA.
And it is it is propaganda to keep your soldiers thinking that they're on the right side.
Right. Exactly.
I like that take.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Maybe it's smarter than I thought.
So they've got all the prisoners chained together, Tango and Cash style.
Right.
Guile and Sagat exchange barbs as they're loading Sagat onto the truck. This isn't over, Guile. I own this city. And he's like, well, I'm the repo man, and you're out of business. It's like,
I loved Vega's hair toss. Where he tosses his ponytail over his shoulder.
He's such
what the fuck?
He's such a mimbo.
It's so funny.
Pretty boy. Now, Ryu and Ken, they start arguing very loudly, pushing and shoving each other. As the AN soldiers come in to separate them, Ryu has snagged the keys off of one of the guys in the confusion. That's slick. Once they're on the truck, they unshackle themselves. Sagat says, we can help you to escape the city if you give me the keys. I love Wes Studi. He was like, this scene was good.
Yeah.
Ryu, give me the keys.
No.
I did research on Studi. So he's a life story to rival Schwarzenegger's type of thing. He grew up speaking only Cherokee.
That's amazing.
In Oklahoma. He was a Vietnam War vet.
That I knew the Vietnam bit.
He started acting and became an activist after he got home from Vietnam. and he became an A-lister, and he's like doing scenes with Pacino and Daniel Day-Lewis and Raul Julia and stuff. It's like amazing.
That's pretty wild. I had no idea.
Yeah, that's just so cool to me. Like, I feel like that things like that can happen just blow my mind.
Yeah.
Like, you weren't supposed to be here. Like, Schwarzenegger, you're not supposed to be the most famous person in the world, dude. Like, you're just like some dude from Austria. Your dad was like kind of a Nazi, I think, or a collaborator,
right,
or something. Yeah, it's wild. I'll edit that out too. I don't want Schwarzenegger to be mad at me. If it's not, I'll have to research and make sure that's properly true. Well, I think his dad was on the wrong side.
He talked about how, like, after everything's over, he remembered his dad like being a broken man, like drank himself because he was
on the wrong side of history, sort of thing. Yeah,
that he was just a broken shell, like, and then all those men they were all just destroyed because their whole world had shattered, and they were all depressed because they were on the wrong side.
Yeah. All right then.
Leave it in.
No, leave it. It stays in.
That was an amazing speech that he gave after the January 6th stuff.
You're right. He said, "Don't be like these guys."
Yeah.
Like,
you don't want to be like them.
Yeah. So now they Ken, I think, or Ryu tosses the keys over to Sagat.
Mm-hmm.
Guile and Cammy are up in the office, like seemingly waiting for something to happen. Guile's conspicuously checking his watch. Well, I mean, we are meant to know, right, that this is all a ruse. The audience is already in on it.
Yeah,
I think.
I think so.
Assuming that there's a plan in motion, whether it's to let like all of them go in a plan to like watch them go.
Right.
We're thinking
I don't know if we know what's about to happen.
Okay, we don't know what the plan is, but we know that there
is something in motion.
Guile's got something cooking here.
Yeah.
Okay, that works for me. As a guard comes to unlock the truck, Ryu kicks the gate open, knocks the guard into a pyramid of empty barrels.
Yeah.
That's some proper video game shit right there. Ryu and Vega, they hop out, they beat up a couple of dudes, take control of the truck along with some random third guy.
Right.
I think who has his CDL. Like, somebody who could actually drive it.
I feel like this would have been the opportunity for them to beat up a car if they were going to do it. Yeah. Like the little interruption moment that was like halfway through the bonus levels.
They never went to the barrel factory either to just bust barrels.
Well, they ran into some barrels. Maybe they could have thrown some. This was the time to take advantage of those bonus levels.
I agree.
That's amazing. Okay. So they crank out the truck, drive out of there amidst all sorts of gunfire and scattering soldiers. So is it real gunfire? Or not everyone seems to know what the plan is.
You can't spread that plan too far and wide and get back to them.
They've already been infiltrated. Headquarters been infiltrated once, like that day.
Yeah, it's not like they're not running that tight of a ship, I guess.
Guile doesn't have too much to lose here, though, because if it goes wrong, then he's just shot Sagat, who he didn't like anyway, and who was a criminal. Okay. So no big deal. No big loss.
I assume that they're real bullets because T-Hawk stops everyone else from firing.
Yeah, he does later on. That's why I'm saying. That's why I'm saying. Well, not everyone's in on this plan,
right?
But I was wondering if the initial burst of gunfire is part of the. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
No one's. It's like an A-team
episode.
None
of this gunfire is real.
No.
So T-Hawk jumps on the back of the truck, but Ken grabs his gun away from him and knocks him out. So that was clearly like the transfer of a gun with blanks or whatever. And Chun Li and her film crew, they arrive. They start filming this shit. Guile comes running out and exchanging gunfire with Ken. Other soldiers, as you mentioned, they get ready to fire, and T-Hawk stops them, saying they're going to hit Guile if they shoot, which that's a clever bit of writing because it kind of works both ways. Like, no, you'll hit the colonel or whatever. It raises the question, though, it's dangerous to not have all of the soldiers in on the plan.
There's some question whether T-Hawk's in on it. I assume that you're right, that the gun going, but he sells that line. He's a good actor for a soldier.
We know T-Hawk.
Yeah.
He did it.
Thawk nails it.
Ken shoots Guile, and everything goes silent.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of shots to the gut.
Somehow Sagat...
He's nodding in approval, although he couldn't have possibly seen it.
Yeah.
He's sitting in the back of the truck.
Not a chance.
Yeah. Chun Li then acrobatically and very conspicuously plants a tracking device on the truck. She did like a somersault.
Yeah, a somersault and flings the beeping thing through the air.
Those big old pleated khakis. She's doing gymnastics.
Completely unnecessary.
She needed the purchase to move around.
Baggy Meg Ryan pants.
The prisoners cheer as the escape is successful. Now there's a lot more gunfire, which made me think, are these real guys shooting real bullets, or what's happening here? I guess it's not the end of the world if a couple of prisoners do get hit.
Yeah, we don't care.
And how is the whole military going to let a single truck drive off?
Well, we've already talked about how cash-strapped the AN is. They couldn't spare the vehicle to go get these guys.
Yeah.
They don't have a bazooka. I don't know.
Yeah, they didn't give chase. They just let him go.
Let him go. Like,
maybe it's because they were all so shocked, the ones not in on the plan, that Guile's dead.
Guile's the only one who can give orders. He's the only one with any authority.
That's right.
Yeah, the medics come in, they attend to Guile and declare he's already dead, which 2 shots to the gut would not kill you immediately.
I wouldn't think so.
Even without medical attention, I feel like you'd live an hour or two maybe.
Yeah,
until you
it's supposed to be like a really painful and brutal way to die.
It's not. You're not going to bleed out. Maybe it hit you right in the liver or something. But
Gunshot.
The medics made no effort to even revive him or anything. They just took a pulse and shook their heads no and pulled a sheet over.
He's already dead.
Already dead. There's nothing we can do. Back at Bison's lair, he's showcasing his model for Bisonopolis.
Oh, Jesus!
The wonder of the new world, he calls it.
This is the Mall of America.
That's amazing. He makes this joke about adding a larger food court.
Because even dictators love capitalism.
He's like, all the major franchises are going to want in.
Totally.
Is the theory that his whole city will be in a single building?
That's also, what it seems like.
Sick branding. It's the skull wings.
It was the skull with wings and then a bunch of skyscrapers and stuff behind it. At this moment, Chun Li appears on TV with a GNT breaking news alert. Colonel Guile is dead at the hands of Sagat. There was more great work from Ming-Na Wen. She did a good job in all her scenes. I feel like she didn't realize that she was in a shitty movie.
Until after.
She was delivering the goods.
You, with your news experience, they wouldn't necessarily put this story out there immediately, right? Somebody would try and keep the kibosh on that until it was approved by military brass or somebody to say it's okay for you to share this.
I do think
really critical news, right?
It's a tricky thing because I guess they were eyewitnesses, so they might know that he's dead even if the military hadn't announced it yet.
Okay,
but they'd also be likely to get booted out of having access.
Yeah,
inside AN headquarters.
You can guarantee that
just watched a general die and immediately just shared it with the world.
If Bison had killed Guile, he would have probably done Al Qaeda or those guys and immediately put out the news, taking responsibility for the attack.
Yeah, so it doesn't seem responsible for the journalists to just announce that the opposing peace military force is now rudderless,
unless it is part of a plan of some kind.
Which, maybe they were you can go live with it. We need him to know about it.
Okay, maybe.
That makes sense. I didn't even think about that. But they probably did give her the green light.
We have to think too much about why this is okay.
It's because there's no tournament happening. There's a lot of other shit we have to sift through.
So this was amazing. DJ starts to celebrate. That's great news, General. And Bison says, on the contrary, I mourn. He's like, oh, okay.
Oh, that's fine.
I feel like this is another missed opportunity, too, because now DJ could have done some kick-ass dance moves right now.
A little celebration dance?
In celebration.
Yep.
And he does not.
DJ does the most that he can, I think, with what he's given, which is very little. But he's just a comic relief character.
Yep.
Is what he's relegated to. Bison said, he'd hoped to have met Guile in combat to snap his spine. Shit.
That's how war works.
Yeah.
Then he goes on this sort of over the top, like a truck.
It's like a soliloquy
speech. Why do they call me a warlord and mad? All I want to do is create the perfect genetic soldier. It's like, that's madman talk.
Yeah, no, that's it. That sounds like Hitler.
I mean, a madman would probably be confused about why he's being considered a madman for his weird, twisted logic.
No, it works because he believes in the righteousness of whatever it is that he's trying to do. The righteousness of
superhuman monsters.
No, just like Hitler, though. It's like we want the Ubermensch. That's what we want.
Yeah, he's green and orange.
He says he wants his army to sweep over the entire globe until the world is in the loving grip of the Pax Bisonica. It's fucking awesome. I mean, that's amazing work from Julia, though. I love watching him work.
He knows he's a talented man. He's a smart man. He knows how stupid this is.
Yeah, but he's still in it.
He shows up.
Wasn't it shit that he said he was happy to do it because his kids love Street Fighter?
Oh, okay, that's killer.
He took the role because his kids love Street Fighter so much, and he's like, sweet.
Yeah, I'll do it, and my kids will love this.
And I don't know how long I'm going to live, so
it's my parting gift to them.
Ooh. Then he says, peace will reign over the world and everyone will bow down to me.
Sounds good.
That's how peace works is.
Zangief has been reduced to tears.
He's moved.
Peace cry is so beautiful.
Yeah.
To me, this scene strikes the perfect tone of what this movie should be doing. It's just leaning into the campiness of it all.
Yeah, agreed. I think so.
Lean into the comedy and let your actors fucking act and take the shit way too seriously.
That's what I think is D'Souza, again, he knows what's up and he knows that Raul Julia is the balls. So he's he's like, man, I trust you. You just do your thing.
When I was watching, I was reminded of Last Action Hero because I feel like it's sort of like it's an action movie for kids. And for adults, it's more of a comedy, a spoof of how bizarre all of this is.
I feel like this, having been a part of the Last Action Hero episodes of 6 Degrees of Schwarzenegger, I feel like this, we talked about how the meta comedy and some of that stuff hadn't quite been figured out yet. I feel like this gets a little bit closer. Yeah. It's still not there.
It's like, it's there's a lot of shit happening that you're like, it's tongue in cheek firmly.
Yep.
So back at AN headquarters, Chun Li and company, they're tracking Sagat's truck, and they realize that must be another tracking device on the truck that's interfering with our signal.
What?
Right? Huh? Balrog analyzes the signal, concludes that it's transmitting back to AN headquarters. He turned one knob, and he's like, "Oh yeah, At first, what?" This is not how any of this shit works.
There's more computer programming and computer science in this movie than there is street fighting.
Honda says, here, but that doesn't make any sense. What? On the contrary, that's literally the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah.
Where else would it be? Who else would have had a tracker on this truck other than someone in this base? It just doesn't anyway. Now, we got T-Hawk's there. He's banging on the side of the van, telling him it's time for them to clear out.
Right.
There's just constant these sight gags about how big and fat Honda is.
Yeah.
Throughout the movie, there was one here, he's squeezing past Balrog, and Balrog's like, oh, there's not room for two of us in this truck, or whatever. But he's not that big. He wasn't that big of a dude.
Mm-mm.
I don't know.
And I mean, an adult's view of sumo wrestlers is not that they are fat, but they are big. That's
right.
I view that differently.
They're tall and they're huge muscles and extra weight. Yeah, they'd be playing your linemen or whatever. There's this prominent placement of the Shadowloof on $25 a day, guidebook. It's just weird. This is the prop department having fun, I guess.
Yeah.
What kind of weird props will we have in
How
there?
much did that cost?
It's weird for a prop to get a close up.
Uh-huh.
But this one did. So Honda drives off in the truck as Chun-Li is changing into this ninja attire.
Her ninja leotard.
Yeah, she says she's going to get to the bottom of this. Her clothing change was instantaneous.
Oh, yeah.
Honda sat down, cranked the truck up, cut to a different angle, and she has changed clothes.
Like Superman in a phone booth.
Exactly.
Yeah. She says, I'm going to find out who's playing games with us. What? This has nothing to do with... No one's playing games with you.
Yeah, why are you taking this so personally?
Yeah.
She's going to meet up with them at some place called the Thieves Market. What?
Honda says, it's clear, go, as they're pulling up to the security checkpoint.
In broad daylight, she's the worst. She's the worst ninja, but I would like to point out that ninjas, I believe, are Japanese.
Yeah.
And Chun Li traditionally is Chinese, which explains why she's a bad ninja.
Yeah,
I think Frank Dukes claimed to be a ninja.
Yeah.
Didn't he? I guess
Frank
anyone
Dukes claimed a lot of things.
Anyone can train ninjutsu.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily, she's not a...
It was like Dutch Ryu ninjutsu was his thing.
But I don't think the character Chun Li from the game is not a ninja, right? She's probably doing kung fu.
No, exactly.
And she's Chinese.
And they've got her dressed in ninja gear, but I don't know that she's ever claimed to be a ninja.
No, she gets her real outfit
later.
From Bison later.
He's got it just in his chambers.
I want to dress her up is what he said. What?
So Chun-Li springs through the hatch in the roof as they're stopped at the security gate, surrounded by security officers.
In broad daylight.
Yep, she hops up onto some scaffolding or something that was above, like a signage. She climbs off. It's a fucking miracle she wasn't seen.
Or they saw her and just let her right in.
Yeah, they're like, it's fine,
She's
whatever.
hot.
Okay. Ninjas,
nice
we got those.
Leotard.
Chun-Li breaks into the main AN building. She uses some sort of device that she's got that leads her to the AN tracking setup where they're also tracking the movement of Sagat's truck.
Right.
Yeah. What the fuck is that device supposed to be? Is that a thing that would actually exist? It's a tracker.
Stud finder.
I don't know.
It's a what?
Stud finder.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like...
It was reverse radio.
It was a plot device.
Tricorder. Any number of devices.
So she says to no one in particular, another homing device. It's like, shouldn't you be trying to stay quiet?
Just talking out loud.
Talking out loud to no one?
I also think that that's just not true. A homing device would be on the thing that's being, like, it's sending out the beacon, right? You have like a receiver.
The homing device is what's on the truck, I guess.
So unless there's like just a collection of homing devices in a box.
None of us can be sure.
So now she notices there's a body that's covered in a sheet because she's worked her way down into the morgue.
Right.
Or whatever.
That's where they keep the homing device.
That's where they keep the homing device, obviously.
Guile's got one in his butt, maybe.
She uncovers this corpse. It's Guile, of course. That's a fucking weird thing for her to do.
Want to see the body.
I mean, I assume she probably knew it would be Guile.
But why would she want to see the body?
Yeah, I want to see that body.
She loves him.
But that's maybe. That's the same... I don't know. Funerals are weird. Like wanting to see a body.
It was a weird move.
What's maybe stranger is that Guile is laying under a sheet in the morgue.
He's not dead. That's what I was going to say. It's not as weird as the fact that Guile's not dead. When she went to go cover him up back with the sheet, he sits up scaring her. So he's just been lying down there with a sheet over him for no goddamn reason.
By himself.
What if he was down there and then heard her coming or something? And then like...
Guy should have hidden elsewhere.
Yeah.
But you know... Yeah, who the fuck knows? We'll go with that because there's some degree of logic to what you said.
And there's something wrong with her too for being able to like look at his body up close and not realize that he is dead until after he gives it away.
Not discolored at all or anything else.
Not
cold.
He's still warm.
Yeah.
Breathing.
So he opens his shirt up to reveal that he was wearing squibs.
What I want to know is why has he been wearing the squibs for that long?
It's like you haven't taken the fucking squibs off yourself
Maybe he likes
yet?
the way they feel. They're like squishy on his abs.
I feel like he's been laying there for hours with the squibs still like under his shirt. It's just weird. He hasn't changed clothes or anything.
It's not even like a Romeo and Juliet type situation where he like takes a thing that makes him sleep deeply and like pretend to be dead. He was fake shot.
Yep.
You get right up from that.
Yep.
So she quickly deduces that this whole escape must have been staged and that Ryu and Ken are working
Chun Li.
for you, whatever. T-Hawk emerges from the shadows to take her into custody. Chun Li says, she's not here as a reporter, but because she wants to stop Bison.
She cryptically says it's taken her 20 years to get this close for some reason.
Which, that's pretty shitty of her. This is 20 years of chasing him and you've never managed to get close to him before?
Yeah.
So this is the like one storyline that actually kind of aligns
to the game.
with the game's story.
Is that what Chun-Li's background is?
Yeah.
But not a news reporter, or is she?
No, she's an Interpol agent according to the plot of the story. So I feel pretty terrible that they like maybe reduced her. They didn't think it would be reasonable
they
that she
April
would
O'Neil'd her is what they did.
April O'Neil'd her, yes, exactly. But like, her like Bison came into her town, killed her dad in like a very
okay, so that is like this felt
that's
like
lore, that's canon.
As I'm watching it, I felt like the Chun Li storyline is one of the only things that to me felt like I bet this was in the original drafts.
It makes some sense.
Because this actually there's a logic to this storyline.
It was in the her backstory that's included, like her dossier in the instruction manual.
You were a dork like me and read the little booklet.
Fuck yeah, I did. I love that shit.
So wait, what was her little story if she won the game? Like what was her post-script?
She would get revenge.
Yeah.
Is that what it would say? Like she's gotten revenge and now she's going to go live in peace or some shit?
I remember seeing like the closing for her and having her walk off kind of into the sunset after I'd played through it on super easy mode so I could get to the end.
Okay. And it was basically like she accomplished her mission.
She felt like resolution that she had gotten revenge. Is that what you remember?
Yeah, that's what I remember as well.
Cool. So she says basically that she's been working for 20 years to get close to Bison. They're dragging her away. And Guile says to her, "This isn't about your personal vendetta." And the room empties. And to no one in particular, Guile says, "It's about mine."
That's fucked up.
It's a fucking cartoon.
Yeah, but it's still fucked up.
Also,
there's a lot of people's lives at stake.
It's going to get lost in the chaos of the movie later. But they never reveal like what his vendetta with Bison is.
I guess
Charlie. Charlie's there.
That's the only thing that we get.
I guess so, but he doesn't know that Charlie's not going to be safe. Well, I don't know.
He seems to suggest that he's carrying that personal vendetta longer than Bison has had Charlie, but that's all we get.
It sounds like it goes way back, but I guess maybe it is a vendetta from the past 24 hours.
Maybe he was a jilted lover.
I seem to sort of remember that Blanka the monster was not Guile's friend Charlie.
No.
And that there's like a prequel game where you actually get, I think, to fight as Charlie.
Didn't he somehow get transformed like electric eels or some shit?
Yeah, he was like a swamp thing that lived in the jungles of Brazil.
But that Guile did want vengeance against Bison for killing his friend Charlie, who was a soldier.
That aligns.
That's in the game.
Oh, that's a thing?
Yeah, Street Fighter Alpha has Charlie. Yeah. It's a later game, but it's a prequel.
It's a prequel game for some reason.
All right.
I feel really nerdy for knowing that. Whatever.
You're in good company, man.
Yeah.
My knowledge extends to what I know from Street Fighter 2 on Sega Genesis.
Nice.
I don't really know the other, but I'm happy to learn more.
But it's like some of the stuff. Yeah, so I think they were just kind of combining things.
Capcom probably told him, and he's like, "I'm going to merge these two things into one thing."
Yeah,
potentially.
Yeah,
okay. There's an entire Street Fighter wiki.
Oh yeah,
it's
worth
worth diving into. It's like Star Wars level lore.
It really is.
So as T-Hawk and Cammy are escorting Chun Li to wherever it is that they'd be taking her, Chun Li escapes and dives out a window. She just dove out a fucking window.
Yeah.
There's no way of knowing what's on the other side of that window.
It's like fucking what's his name in Passenger 57.
Yeah, it was Charles Rain. He just went out the window, man.
Holy shit.
Assuming she does know what floor she's on, she knows she's not on the ground floor.
Right.
It was just dumb luck. There was a truck right outside the window for her to land on top of.
It doesn't seem like anything's more than 2 stories in this little military complex.
Yeah. That's very likely to fuck you up.
I read that building was a piece of shit and gave them all kinds of issues with filming. But
oh really?
Yeah, that it was like,
was it pre-existing or they built it?
It was essentially falling apart and it existed, and then it flooded and leaked during rainstorms, which were frequent, and
they had power outages.
Right? They had power outages, and then during the day, when at the daytime, that the sun fucked around because there were so many holes in the roof and shit, and that light would just be streaming through windows, and then it was miserable. But anyway,
yeah, I think the Thailand government sort of made promises to the production team that they couldn't deliver on about how well you'll be taken care of here in Thailand.
It sounds too like they didn't have a whole ton of time to scout it out.
Right?
No,
they just had to take what they could get.
There was a civil war happening in Myanmar at the time.
Really?
Right next door. That's why they had.
There's been a civil war going on there for like 50 years or something.
Well, they couldn't fly helicopters in the movie.
Is that why?
Because of
the military actually needed them.
Yeah.
Or was it just unsafe?
I think it was unsafe for them to do.
They might get shot down.
And that's why they had to switch to boats. That's why Guile says we can't come in by the air. We have to go in boats.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So she's out the window. T-Hawk says, "What a screw up." And then Guile runs up and says, "What a woman." Which is like, he's in love.
Yeah,
he's
I'm telling
for Chun Li.
He's got it for her, and she's got it for him.
Yeah, there's a mutual thing going on with those two.
She's hot.
I think that wraps us up, though, for Chapter 2 of Street Fighter.
Wow, it went by so quickly.
We didn't even know it.
We didn't even know it happened, you guys. But we will be back with a whole lot more fucking cocaine-fueled mayhem.
Woo!
On this movie.
And a movie to discuss.
It's about... Nice. So, yeah, we will see you next week.
Ciao.
We'll be back.